All right, audio will start in 3, 2, 1. Cunts.
Interesting. Welcome to episode 83 of the Degenerates Clubhouse. Actually, I have a workout song recommendation.
A workout song recommendation?
Yeah. Last time we were talking about German hip hop.
Uh-huh.
This is in English, off English.
Okay.
That's how you say it in English and German. But it's just a like very end of the workout, like last push, like just banger. It is called Red Rover by a band named Little Stranger. So the name of the song is Red Rover, and the song is Little Stranger. I don't think I'd ever want to listen to this outside of working out, but it came on as I was walking back from your house the other night. I was like, all right, like I'm pumped. I'm gonna walk extra hard. But I also brought that up because that reminded me. Did you ever play Red Rover as a kid?
No.
You never played Red Rover? What were the games like? Did you have like neighborhood games you played?
We're Hispanic, dude. We tag the walls. we
No, like organized gangs are not. That's not what I meant. I meant did you play like I know you had spray paint tags. Did you play like freeze tag?
No, we played like I'm sure we played hide because see where we lived was like apartment complexes, so there was plenty of like nooks and crannies and places to hide and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm positive we played like hide and go seek, tag.
That was one of our favorites as well.
What else?
Did you ever play Capture the Flag? That game was the best.
I don't think we did.
You need a little bit more room. Well, not really. You could probably play it in an apartment complex, but
Capture the Flag.
Because it's kind of like tag, but then you have to get the flag, and then if you tag them, you get the flag back. It's a whole thing. Very organized. There was a jail. You never heard about this? You guys, seems like that would have been up here.
No. No.
Too real?
No, we just went to jail for real.
It's like you had like a side. There was like a dividing line. So like if you were on their side and you got tagged, you had to go to jail. And then like if somebody who wasn't tagged like made it to their side, they could either try to get the flag or they could try to free the people for like jailbreak them. But
we played like a freeze tag. We played freeze tag.
Capture the Flag was very, very complicated. There was many rules, and then inevitably someone would get pissed off. So then a new rule would be invented.
Hey, real quick, do you have the audio playing on your basketball game? Because I think I could pick it up. I think it's
through. Hold on, I didn't even turn that out.
Yeah, I was like hearing little whispering in the background.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
No, we played freeze tag. We didn't play capture the flag. We weren't that creative.
That was it. So you just had like hide and go seek and freeze tag.
Hide and go seek, freeze tag. Don't go to jail. We played ball games.
Is that a child's game or just what your parents every morning are like, hey?
Yeah, but if you're gonna go out, just don't. Whatever you do, just don't go to jail. We played basketball and we didn't play soccer. We played football, like flag football, like just street flag football or touch football, 2-hand touch, that kind of thing.
The kids in my neighborhood love to play hockey, like roller hockey.
Yeah, we didn't have hockey or lacrosse in the West Coast, or where we.
Yeah, I never. It's weird. Like because I you know what, that probably was it. When I was in like towards the end of middle school and then high school, we moved to a more affluent neighborhood, and then I just put that together. Like, yeah, we also didn't have hockey until until we moved to the rich neighborhood.
Huh.
But yeah, it was just like one of the kids wanted to actually play hockey. He wanted to be on the high school hockey team, so he'd try to get us to practice with him. And I was always the goalie.
Yeah, we didn't have. It would have had to have been like roller hockey or some form of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We weren't playing ice hockey. We were playing
but then
street hockey.
The reason we didn't do any of that was because that would require us to own a pair of skates, and there's no way. Like we had to do with little to no equipment. You know what I mean? Like
you need the hockey stick. There was the one little brother who just couldn't skate for shit, so we would let him play just in like regular shoes, and he's just running around.
I said like games like soccer would be easy for us to play, but I don't think anyone in our neighborhood really enjoyed soccer. But it's just something that has like very minimal equipment required.
That's why it's the most popular game in the world.
Yeah, because you can be poor as fuck and still play the game.
In Brazil, Argentina,
in the favelas.
I don't know if there's room in the favelas. They look pretty cramped. Anyhow, those were our childhood games. I was wondering if like there were any like unique ones that you guys had, but
not that I recall.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Oh, you want me to segue into? I don't.
Yeah, because you're the one who came up with the whole talking about little kids games things. I didn't know you had that like in the hole.
I don't know. It was just something I was just thinking about it as I came over because we were just thinking about
Reminiscing.
nostalgic stuff, but I don't think I can't even really be nostalgic because I never read James Joyce. Have you?
I don't think so.
I haven't either. I read so most of the classical authors I read. I'm realizing were American.
Uh-huh.
I did read a bunch of classical. Actually, like right around the same time when I was a kid in middle school during the summer, I would just read like 20, 30 books, just plow through them, and a lot of them were classical authors. And I'd never, in that whole time, never read Ulysses.
I read that one.
So you did read James Joyce?
That's James Joyce?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, I read that one.
Unless I'm having a seizure, but yeah, I think that's James Joyce. But I feel like I wouldn't have liked it because that guy's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
Next level weirdo.
Degenerates history. James Joyce. We're going to talk about Mr. James Joyce, the author of said aforementioned Ulysses. Perhaps Ireland's greatest man of letters, James Augustine Aloysius. I imagine is pronounced Aloysius.
Is that part of it? You think if your middle name's Aloysius, like you just become a freak?
You become a fucking weirdo. They make fun of you because of your name. James Augustine Aloysius Joyce, from 1882 to 1941, author of the innovative novels Ulysses and Finnegan's Wake, was a modernist writer who wrote in a groundbreaking style that combined complexity with explicit content that shocked contemporaries and led to landmark legal decisions on obscenity.
All right, obscenity. But yeah, what was Ulysses like? Like, what was so like obscene about it?
We can read. He was a total pervert.
No, I just from like you said you read it, just like from your memory, like did something jump out?
I don't remember. No, I don't remember anything. I'm sure there was I don't.
Just you think it's one of those ones where it's like A, like you just probably didn't think that much about it, and B, maybe back in the day they were a little bit stricter.
I think reading for us wasn't like it was we read in class as a group and it was only like we didn't read the whole thing through. Usually, like the teacher would skip around so that maybe they were like censoring certain shit that they didn't want us to read about. Maybe they were hiding like the stuff that he may have been otherwise controversial about.
Okay. Let's table that thought. We'll come back to it. Continue.
Joyce had a thing for breaking wind, farts, if you will. He just loved farts to distraction and could not get enough of them, whether dishing them out, preferably on people's faces, or receiving them. Farts made Joyce's day, and his enjoyment of farts was not limited to the fine pleasure of experiencing them. Being a world-class author, he had to write about farts, describing them in exquisite detail. Indeed, there's an entire collection of Joyce letters in which he writes passionately about farts and farting. An excerpt from a letter to his lover. It is a wonderful life to...
My love, you're gone too quickly, like a fart on a windy day. I don't know what that... He's Irish, isn't he? I can't even do an Irish accent. I don't know what that accent was, but... That every... In you know, the 50s, the 40s, the 30s, like, every letter was just, like, beautifully crafted and passionate. And the fact that he applied that to farts
I'm trying to
kind of amazing.
I'm trying to read the excerpt, but it doesn't make sense because they block out the profanity.
The what?
Excerpt. What did I say? Expert? Did I say expert?
I don't know. I wasn't really sure. That's why I asked.
Oh.
That's okay.
Anyway.
You can figure it out.
I guess. It is wonderful to fuck a farting woman when every fuck drives one out of her. I think I would know Nora's fart anywhere. I think I could pick hers out in a room full of farting women. It is rather girlish noise, not like the wet, windy fart, which I imagine fat wives have.
Wait, hold on. I'm just imagining there's some sort of, like, elaborate murder that took place in a dark room, and, like, the killer farted, and it's just James Joyce at a police lineup.
And he knows which one it is.
It's like, all right, number 2, step forward. Okay,
not number 2, literally.
Oh, no, literally.
Oh, gross.
he's just it's just a whole lineup of women farting and him sniffing it and being absolutely enthralled and tantalized by all of it, and then he's like, no, that's the killer. I would know that fart anywhere.
I'm gonna continue reading with this excerpt. Did I say expert again? No, I didn't.
No, you got it. You're good.
Jesus. Now you got me. Now I'm in my head. It is sudden and dry and dirty, like what a bold girl would let off in fun in a school dormitory at night. I hope Nora will let off no end of her farts in my face, so that I may know the smell also. In yet another letter, Joyce gushes to his beloved. If I gave you a bigger, stronger fuck than usual, fat, dirty fart came spluttering out of your backside.
Oh, wow.
You had an ass full of farts that night, darling, and I fucked them out of you. Big fat fellows, long windy ones, quick little merry cracks, and a lot of tiny little naughty farties ending the long gush from your hole. The man just loved himself some windbreakage.
James Joyce's greatest regret in life is that he never lived to see the day of Taco Bell.
Jesus Christ.
That would have been just next level pleasure for him.
It is kind of cool that here's this like rather otherwise distinguished, well-known author, and he just finds like humor in poo, or not poo, in
well, it seems like it's next level for him, right? Because for guys it's sort of funny, but like I don't think there's this like deep infatuation with the smell of it. Is there?
Dude, some guys like scents. Some guys like there's
clearly
there's people out there that like will pay to have like women ship them like used underwear because they want the fucking odor of like dirty vagina or dirty beehole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's some people that really enjoy that.
Look, TikTokers and Instagram models, they gotta eat, man. You gotta do what you gotta do.
I think Jim Norton talks about how he likes it when girls have like a little bit of BO.
Oh, okay.
But he's also
he
into
the pheromones.
He's also into chicks with dicks. So, good for him, I guess.
Hey, do your thing, Jim Norton.
I don't know if I I don't know that I share Mr. James Joyce's passion for women's butthole smells.
But maybe like he is sort of a revolutionary, because I feel like that is stigmatized. Like women are like afraid to fart in front of men.
Dude, there was a girl that I dated for a long time, and I lived with her, and I never once recall like seeing her or like her taking a shit. Like she must have done it. She must have saved her shits to when I wasn't home.
Yeah, do you remember we were talking about the movie The Big Sick, starring Kumail Nanjiani, and there's a scene in that where it's like he's like first kind of meets his girlfriend, future wife, and like she's trying to sneak out of the house or not of the house, like he's got this small apartment that he shares. And she's trying to sneak out of it in the middle of the night to a diner, and he's like, "What are you doing? I'll go with you." And she's just like, turns out that they have a very thin bathroom door. And,
so you can hear everything.
And there's no matches or air freshener. So she's trying to like sneak out of the apartment so she can go shit in this diner's bathroom, and then
just really let loose, just really have fun.
It's like, you know what, women, you shouldn't have to live like that. There are people out there like James Joyce, and if you're just a gassy gal, you just got to find your James Joyce.
You just gotta have one of them bathrooms that has the fan going off, so the fan makes noise, and then just make sure you have matches in your bathroom. Like I obviously live alone, but I have matches in the bathroom and air freshener and all that shit. The fan goes off because even when I'm home alone, I'm like, I have the thing in my mind like, if there was someone else in the room or in the apartment, I don't want them to hear or smell my shits. So I have all that noise pollution.
I've got one of those like barbecue lighters. What are those things called?
The extended like long.
Yeah. Because I do have a candle on a little like a nice like aroma candle. Yeah. So it's all prepared. You know what? Women, we're trying to step our games up too. Okay, we understand it. I understand your pain. But you know what? Like I said, James Joyce didn't understand it. He loved it.
Good for him. I mean, there are worse things he could have been like a perv about. Like that's kind of like that's a safe perversion. You know what I mean? It's not like hurting anybody.
Victimless crime.
Yeah. He's not like into like aggressively choking a chick and like thumbing her butthole while simultaneously.
He didn't have to move to Italy because that was the Marquis de Sade.
Uh-huh.
It's like Jesus Christ, this guy keeps getting kicked out of countries because of how fucking perverted he is. So you know what? Good job, James Joyce, for being a groundbreaking author. Oh, that is what I wanted to come back to, and like maybe we could discuss this on a future episode. But like they are like flat out like banning books in Florida. And I actually got a list of like all the books that were banned, and I was going through them, and like some of them I was like, okay, I can see how this like hardcore triggered, like conservative Christians, because it was like two boys fuck in a parking lot. That was like the name of the book. I mean, it was something to that effect. I'm like, okay, I get it.
What's wrong with that?
But there was a couple books that I'd read, and I was like legitimately trying to remember like anything that would have been provocative or and yeah, I had to look up. I'm like, wait, what was wrong with this book? And I'm like, oh right, there was that one like tiny scene in in this whole big book, and it got banned in Florida. It's crazy. They also banned math textbooks.
What?
They thought some of the word problems like expressed like a political view or something. I don't know. Those controversial math textbooks.
Yeah.
But it was like they banned like 40% of all math textbooks in the state.
Florida is going to be the first state to reach idiocracy level, like the movie, where like they're just watching TV shows that are just about kicking people in the nuts, and they're like super enthralled by it, and they think it's the funniest shit.
And then they find out it's just their Ring doorbell cam.
Yeah.
Let's circle back. Somehow I'd like to like do a better discussion, about the all the banned books out there, but maybe that could be a special episode of Florida Man.
Sure.
Let's save that for a future episode, and today we can just move right along to good old Ask Reddit.
Ask Reddit. Let's ask the internet. What can be done to stop mass shootings?
Simple, very simple.
Oh, you already solved the problem?
I got it all figured out. Maybe this is a little bit more of a discussion than we just throw out our answer.
Yeah.
I mean, this is okay. This is the one thing I'm certain, and I'm 100% sure I'm right about this. We need to do something rather than nothing.
Sure.
Like doing the same, not changing anything will not fix it.
So the problem is all these politicians will bring it up and say it's bad, but they don't have a plan in place, or like they don't have an agenda to like I wouldn't say solve, but at least address or try to attack the problem.
Well, they do though, but there's a lot of disagreement on what's going to work.
Yeah.
But so that's the question. Leave the politicians out of this, because there's been a whole bunch of gun control laws and things like that have been proposed and shot down. And that's because, let me put it this way: as far as the politicians go, it usually kind of breaks down on not two sides, but there's two different avenues that they're looking to pursue. The one is gun control, because there's like a real compelling argument. Like, look, these countries that don't have guns all over the place don't have all the mass shootings. And then there's a second thing where it's like, well, it's not really the guns; it's like a mental health problem, so you don't have to do anything about the guns. And I've always thought, well, I don't doesn't seem like it's an either or to me. Like it could be a both, but do you think it's one of those two things, or both, or something else?
There's a lot of things that aren't even talked about, like just like as shitty as this may sound, but like some people shouldn't have kids. No offense, but some people should not be allowed to have kids.
Are we going China style? We're gonna.
I
have
mean,
like
that could be a really extreme way of trying to, but there's people. There's a lot of horrible parents out there that shouldn't have ever had the ability to procreate, and they raise these kids that are may or may not be wired a little differently, and then parents just don't know how to address those.
Oh my. Quick question, because I know you're not like that plugged into the news. One, do you know why I put this question down?
No.
Okay, there's another big mass shooting.
Yeah. I glanced at the headline.
And then, were you aware that in all likelihood, because it was funny, I hadn't thought about this at all, but when you just said, oh, some people shouldn't have kids, I didn't know if you knew, in all likelihood, abortion will become illegal in 29 states now.
Yeah, because they're trying to repeal Roe versus Wade and leave it up to the states. And
Correct. And a bunch of states have already passed legislation that makes abortion illegal. It just does. They just can't actually enforce it because of the Roe v. Wade. I mean, it's protected on the federal level. And yeah, there was like it's kind of like a preliminary decision where these judges had drawn it up, I guess, back over in this past summer or something, and it just sort of got out. But yeah, it seems like in all likelihood that will go bye. So I don't know about this whole thing of like, it's not even that some people shouldn't have kids. It's some people like will have to have kids. Like that option is of might be just out the window for a lot of people.
I think law or no law, there are going to be people that shouldn't have kids that have kids anyway.
Yeah. So how do you fix that though? If that's the like I said, do we go China style?
It comes down to like figuring out a way to enforce it. Maybe requiring a permit to like have kids, kind of thing, like a DMV license, like know what I mean.
This is I had not expected this to be the offered solution.
No, I mean, it's like I said, that's just one of but I'm saying like one of hundreds, I'm sure, of ways out there that can that are all aimed at addressing the mass shootings problem.
If there was some sort of limitation on the amount of kids you could have, but nothing changed in the immigration laws, people would freak the fuck out in this country. Because have you there's this whole I want to make sure I get this right, but I believe it's called like the replacement theory, or I don't know if it's a theory, but this is like a thing that has been said like on Fox News, like in public, that I guess a lot of the like kind of like white nationalists think that there's an effort to replace like good like Christian white voters with these like brown immigrants. I mean, they say it a little bit more dog whistly than that, but
think there's an agenda for that.
Yes, like they think there's like an intentional like plan in place to how do they put it? They're like yeah, like replace like the voting electorate with these more subservient like foreign immigrants.
So it's basically like a reverse version of us.
Pretty much.
Like we're trying to like invasion of the body snatchers, trying to fucking take over the world, global domination.
Although it's fun, I guess this question was about mass shootings, right?
Yeah.
I think it seems like white people are pretty much at the helm when it comes to mass shootings.
Yeah, I think minorities just do like a straight it's either going to be like a drive-by. Like that's the closest thing you'll get to like a minority in a mass shooting. It's like a drive-by, like some gang drive-by. But it's not like a planned well, no,
it's not a special level of Call of Duty.
It's not saying it doesn't happen out there, cuz there was that one, wasn't there like a young black dude that was like shooting people from the back of a car or
something? I think that was Baltimore.
Yeah.
The Baltimore sniper?
Yeah. So it's not to say that like all mass shootings are white people. It just also happens to be that they're almost always males too. They're few, you know what I mean? There's not a bunch of crazy little white chicks going out there killing a bunch of people.
There have been very few female serial killers. There have been female serial killers. I don't think there's ever been a female mass shooter.
Yeah, not that I know of. Yeah.
Dude, that just jogged my memory. The last year I was at Whittier College, that's when the whole Boston sniper thing happened.
Uh-huh.
And so one of the freshman lacrosse players was he was from like the Maryland, Baltimore area, and this fucking kid was really struggling just with like college life and academics and everything. And I was trying to help him out, and I said I would I would help him with like one of his papers. And so I'm like reading this oh my god. This just goes back to like education, and some people shouldn't have children. And the whole if I could encapsulate the thesis of his paper, and I still remember it because I was like, oh my god, how dumb and self-centered is this kid? The thesis of the paper was the Baltimore Sniper was bad because it ruined our prom.
Oh, nice.
And I just am like, oh my, okay.
And that kid somehow made it to college.
You know how I think he did? I think his parents were rich. He had
Either rich parents or they were like athletic. They're in a sport, and that's how most of these schools squeeze in kids that. That's a thing too. Like there are people out there that don't deserve graduate degrees. They don't deserve college degrees. but the system, they try to force everyone should have a chance, and I get it. But if you just don't have the mental capacity, you probably shouldn't get a degree.
Let's try to wrap this one up. But
Sure.
The two things. I am interested to see how this plays out because just touching briefly back on the politicians. I was trying to phrase that so it didn't sound creepy. Touching politicians, I don't know. They're a bunch of creepers. We've established this already, but generally the way this has played out, there's been a shooting. The more like liberal ones are like, we need gun control and so forth and so on, and then the conservative ones are like, it's not gun control because the NRA gives us a lot of money and it's just a mental health problem. But then there's never actually like any plan to help address mental health.
Yeah.
And so I guess it's like the president's administration has put together this like pretty broad, like sweeping mental health program. And the idea is to give like a lot of extra support and services and stuff like that. So I'm just curious. I'm like, okay, how is this going to play out? Is this going to get shit on somehow? Probably.
So I think like I don't know how school counselors worked for you and like your high school, junior high, whatever, or even college. But the school counselors in our school were fucking useless.
Oh,
I think there needs to be. It's either got to be like a class. I think there's several like subjects that aren't part of like academia. Mm-hmm. One of them is just being like general like money management and finances. Like that should be like a class to be able to have a functional person that can kind of take care of themselves financially. And then secondly, there should be some kind of like a mental health class or like a kind of like a group counseling type of thing where it's like it's a mandatory part of the.
Well, and that's the thing. It would have to be small though. If it was like a big class,
yeah,
of high school
you want to
kids,
have a little more personal attention for sure.
This is actually one of the things I thought because our counselors were fucking useless. All they did was just sign off on our schedule. And by the way, I put together some dumb schedules when I was in high school, like set up for failure. And they're just like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. Just
yeah.
And then just to process transcripts for college. That's all they ever did. But when I worked in a high school for a year after graduating Whittier, they had these instructional aides, they called them, and basically what I think there was like maybe 7 or 8 of them at this school, and they would get assigned to like quote unquote like problem kids.
Right.
Were like they
ones that needed a little extra push.
Yeah, they would and they were usually young, like 20s. I could definitely see it was a job that would wear you down. But they would go with them to certain classes where there's an issue, like they talk with them, check in with them. And I remember thinking like, holy shit, that would have been amazing. Maybe I didn't need one with me every day.
Yeah.
Because like I wasn't acting up in class or anything, but just to have someone who'd kind of like been through it and was a little older just to talk to, that would have been amazing.
I always thought when I was like a super young kid, I always thought the Big Brother program was kind of cool. Like I was like, oh, one day I want to be a Big Brother. You know what I mean?
You know what? I thought about even doing that more recently. Like
yeah.
I do think that's a great program.
Well, we kind of sort of do that in our fraternity thing in the Lancer Society. Like we do have little brothers and we do kind of mentor. Like when I went back and was
I didn't because my little brother had his shit better together than I did.
Yeah.
I needed to go to him for life advice.
Yeah, when I went back and was one of the pledge masters like a few years back, like I had 18 fucking kids that it was like I was like a pledge master and all that, but it was like these are all like my little they could be they could be my kids. They were like 18 and I was like 36, 38 years old. So I was like these could be my children. So I often thought of them as like my little brothers. Like all of them were like my little whatevers, you know.
Yeah, I didn't realize this, and I feel bad, but I kind of did that for the lacrosse team my last year.
Yeah, when you're like the senior, when you're like the
I looked back at it being like, man, I really should have taken an even bigger leadership role. There was
Yeah.
so much more I could have done, but it blew me away when I because I was trying to figure out exactly what to do post college, and at some point I thought like maybe I'd be in Los Angeles, and then I wanted to see if I could be just an assistant coach for the Whittier team. And one of the guys who had been, he wasn't even a freshman, he was a sophomore when I was a senior, was like, just please let me know if you do, because I'm not going to play next year. But if you're an assistant coach, then I'm going to definitely play. And I was like, what? That was weird to me. I didn't think I had that big of an effect, but you never know when you. But this is the whole point. Just one person in your corner, and then maybe you don't shoot up a school.
Yeah. Just someone you could talk to, someone you could relate to, someone that you can connect with. They can be a friend, they could be a mentor, they can be a peer, just somebody that you admire their opinion. And the problem is nowadays, and I get it, everyone wants to be an individual. I get it. I understand, like, everyone wants to express themselves their own individual way. But there is something to be said of being part of a group or part of something where you can look up to someone, like I said, have a role model. We don't have our role models, unfortunately, these days are fucking movie like actors and musicians, and then you have people like the Kardashians that to some people are like they aspire to be like. It's like, ugh. People that watch, okay, no offense to those out there that watch this shit, but people that watch like trash reality TV shows, and like I don't get it. Like I don't like it's not good. It puts your mind in a different space without you being aware. Like all that stuff enters your subconscious, and you think that the people on quote unquote reality shows, what they're doing is normal when it's not. And all like it sounds very preachy and all that, but TV can fuck people up too. Like just watching too much. If you allow yourself to be controlled, you can be. I think you know what I mean.
All right, so I think we solved it.
Yep. Problem solved.
Can someone listening just type that all up,
Yep.
send that into Congress, and let's get this going.
Let's see what some of the Redditors say. I'll try to be quick because we're kind of user Blobkososi. I don't know what the fuck. Have effective social programs that promote good mental health outcomes and higher quality of life for the common people. Develop our society to be better and feel better so that people don't throw everything away in a fit of rage. So they address the mental health. User Tremolo499 says, stop making them famous. Yeah. I mean, don't. Some kids just want to be in the spotlight, and as sad as it sounds, they resort to shit like this just to be in the spotlight, whether it's a good spotlight or a bad spotlight. User Plague681 writes, ask Reddit for a balanced, well thought out answer. That's it. We'll read for that. That's going to be enough for Reddit question number 1. But yeah, looks like Degenerates did it again. We made the world a better place.
Yeah, that's we're one step at a time. we're what's we call referred to as a think tank.
Yeah.
Just the best and brightest putting our heads together. Solving the world's problems.
We really are goody two shoes.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I think we just hit on something. We have to take some excerpts. Fuck, now I did it from our best podcast, and let's send it to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We really need some funding from them.
Yeah,
they're out there trying to do things with vaccines and this, that, and the other. Really, their money could be better spent right here.
We got to ask
the Degenerates
former Mrs. Bezos for a little something.
Oh, I know her husband.
I know you. We talked about.
Yeah.
That.
right. Dear Dan. It's been a while. I don't know if you remember me. Could we don't need a bill like $500 million
sure.
just to fund her.
We need to have an actual studio because working out of my apartment, we need to have like a nice house, 5-bedroom house with a built-in sound. One can dream. Anyway,
we'll have that. Not a 5-bedroom. We'll have a 3-bedroom soon. I'm building a house.
Oh, your
in
house.
like months.
Yeah. I was like, what are you talking about?
I can just build a studio in the basement if I want.
Ask Reddit question number 2. What are once popular hobbies that are slowly dying these days?
Trains?
Trains?
Yeah. So a couple things. One, There was actually like a model train store on Alameda, and that just closed down.
Like here in Colorado.
Yeah, like right. It was I think 5-6 months ago it closed. So down, up the street from your apartment, there was a model train store.
Were you ever into trains?
I was not. I remember my high school wrestling coach was super 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 into trains.
Yeah.
Like he had like a huge model train set in his house, and he would show it to us. I mean, every so often like they'd have the team over, and he had like these old like railroad ties that he used to like stake like out some of the landscaping outside of his house. And then we we had, I don't know, maybe like 8 of us go to this camp during the summer. It was like a wrestling camp, and he went down with us, and like his son went with us, but he insisted that we take the train to get there. And it did crack me up because I guess like one of the kids had only ever really been in the suburbs. So we're sitting in 30th Street Station, and it's this huge, I mean, soaring ceilings and like stained glass and everything. But there's fucking pigeons in there. They just find their way in, and this kid, Mike Raschuti, starts freaking out. He's like, "There's a fucking pigeon in this train station." And we're like, "Yeah." He's like, "Why is there a bird in the train station?" But yeah, and then we took the train down. But yeah, he had this huge model train set, and you'd show it to us and everything, and that used to be like a hobby. I don't really understand. I guess it was building like the tracks out and everything.
Yeah. The building the tracks out, and then like making the train do cool shit like go through bridges or over bridges or through tunnels, like, and then just having it to go. I understood the concept of having a train. The problem is, as I was always way too young, and that train hobby thing is like an expensive hobby. Like you have to have space. And all those little pieces, like all the little tracks and
Super
fucking little
decorative
fucking things, a little, crossing guard, like all that shit adds up. It's hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of dollars, I'm sure. I used to like watching them on TV, but I knew I could never afford that shit.
Well, I think that's why all those like niche, model train stores were able to stay in business, because you had it was a very small amount of clientele, but it was so expensive. But it sucks to say, I think the population of like model train enthusiasts probably dying out.
Yeah.
Like rest in peace, Mr. Burke. Like my high school wrestling coach is no longer with us. So, that's one that is a hobby that is figuratively and literally dying out, I think.
Yeah. Well, just trains in general, like even real life trains are not commercial. They're not used the way that they were used when they were first introduced. They used to be more of a commuter thing and getting all over the country. And
they are just not in our country. They're not.
Yeah.
I mean, actually in most places they're still incredibly popular. But we just suck at mass transportation. America, it's terrible at mass transportation. We're number 1 in mass shootings, though.
Yeah.
It's something. But oh man, I want to. Have you ever ridden a bullet train?
No, but I almost did. They were building one at the time. They were building one that was supposed to leave like from somewhere like in San Diego and go all the way through like somewhere in northern or central California, and it was going to go through Bakersfield.
Mm-hmm.
And but then I remember it's like a lot of politics in the bullet train project. Like a lot of people didn't like, they wanted the bullet train to go through their city because it would bring revenue in, but no one wanted to pay for the bill. Like all politicians.
Yeah, we suck at all that stuff. But other countries use bullet trains and mass transportation and trains in general a ton.
There was supposed to be one also that went from like somewhere in LA or Orange County to go to like to Vegas. So you get to like Vegas in like an hour or two or something like that, as opposed to driving and sitting through traffic and all that shit.
And there was that one train that it actually like went around the circumference of the earth, and it was self-sustaining, and like, but it was like all the really poor people lived in the back, and then as you went up, there was like more and more rich and opulent cars.
Snowpiercer.
And then little children worked at
Snowpiercer.
You got the reference.
Have you seen it? The show?
No, I've seen the movie.
The movie was okay. The show was all right too. Anyway,
okay.
That's not Reddit. We're just.
So what was your hobby?
I have actually a couple. The first one that popped in my mind is just making like the act of creating a mixtape. Like when we were kids, there was cassette tapes for sure.
Yeah.
And I remember like that was like for me one of the few ways where I can get music from the radio. I would like tape the radio. Like if there was songs I wanted, I could tape the radio, and then that would be like the song I would listen to whenever I want to listen. So like making mixtapes. Why I brought that one up is because when in 2003, 2004, when I first came out here to Denver, was with Bolliker, Lizer, Allison, Ionian girl, and myself. Came out for spring break, and then at the end of the trip, we made like we all picked some songs, and we made a CD mixtape that we were like, okay, here's the deal. We're only going to listen to this CD looping over and over and over again from the drive from here in Denver all the way back to California. So we heard that CD like 20 times over. But I made one recently for myself and Lizer and Bolliker, but obviously more to date current songs.
Well, I think that still actually exists, just more in a digital format, right?
Yeah.
Because there's the Spotify playlist people go crazy about.
Yeah, but it's to me it doesn't have the same.
No, there's not a physical, tangible thing.
Yeah, it's not quite this. It's parallel. It's akin to like people that collect records. You know what I mean? Like people collect vinyl because that vinyl has a certain feel, a certain sound, and like having like a finished CD that has like a pre.
I do think there's a physical element to it, but that's also like what every generation says. Because when we had CDs, there's like the old heads who were like, no, it's not the same as a record, and a record's and you press it and blah blah. It's
True.
like, all right, calm down, old people. It's a CD. It sounds better. It's crisper. Shut up. So I bet like the little like Zoomers are like,
yeah, they all have digital shit. They don't have physical anything. They don't have. I still buy CDs.
Can you share your CD over the phone with friends so they can listen to it?
Yeah.
No, you can't.
Yeah, fuck you. The CD is more intimate.
You just don't get it, Armando.
It's more selective. The second hobby was comic books. Comic books used to be huge, and it's crazy because comic books, the paper version is gone. It's kind of like it's still out there. There's still a market for paper comic books, but most of it's gone. Most of that's gone digital. You know, and then now with cheaper, and then now that with Marvel movies making a comeback, and just superhero movies in general making like a big.
So you just don't like the fact that these hobbies have transitioned to digital, because comics are still huge.
Yeah, because it's just it's a dying form of that media, of that specific type of media.
I think it just comes down to cost, really. It's like just the production and distribution is such a hassle. A lot of these companies are like, well, we're just gonna make more money. It's like it's just much easier to just send it, through space in a satellite.
Maybe it's the hoarder in me, but I still like having physical copies of CDs and Blu-rays and it's just having.
Yeah, no, I understand, but I think the hobbies you're mentioning, like, they haven't really died out exactly. They've just kind of changed a little.
Yeah, and I don't like that.
Yeah,
fuck them.
Let's digital shit.
Let's see what some of the users on Reddit say about that question. User Harry_effective1172 writes, model trains, just like Aaron said. When I was growing up, every town had a model train store in it. Now I have one in region, and everything else has to be bought online. Yeah.
Oh, that's probably the other thing too, huh? Online's killing everything. Like,
yeah.
You could get the same models, I'm sure, cheaper online.
Without having a storefront and paying for the brick and mortar. You just have like a warehouse and sell shit like Amazon does,
Yep.
User spooky_Scudley_Molder writes, stamp collecting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, stamp collecting's a thing.
I liked coin collecting when I was a kid.
I still have coins at home somewhere. My parent in California somewhere. User Sheeple85 writes, don't see anyone playing marbles anymore. I had an awesome collection in school. Yeah, marbles, old school. We had some marbles. Nothing cool.
Why was that not listed among the childhood games?
We did, because it wasn't like a thing we did every day. We did like once a year or something. I don't know.
Would you have lived in the Squid Games marble section? Would you have made it out?
No.
You didn't. Okay, you didn't play marbles that much. Got it.
No. Last one I'll read. User Ray writes ham radio operating.
Oh shit!
Ham
Yeah,
radios. Yeah.
that was like a. I forget. There's like a. It's a weird hobby.
Yeah.
You're just tuning in and trying to talk to random people.
Yeah. So that was it for Ask Reddit. We are now going to. We don't really have a name.
Top tier.
Top tier, I guess. It's a segment. We'll
Tear it up.
Tear it up. Whoop whoop.
Is that part of it?
Yeah.
Is it
whoop,
tiered
whoop.
up parentheses whoop whoop?
Yeah. That's the name of this. We're gonna call this segment. We're gonna just basically. Or you go ahead and explain it.
Yeah. So we are gonna make a tier list. If you're not familiar with tier lists, I think this is something that came out of like video games and comic culture, and it's just the absolute best is S tier, and then from there it's like A, B, C, D, and F. I don't think any of the. I don't think we really need to have an F tier because we're gonna make a tier list of
It's
90s
basically
Nickelodeon.
ranking. Yeah, it's ranking them.
So like S is just absolute best, next level, like the best of the best, and then yeah, it kind of A through D, kind of almost on a school grading system.
Yeah.
So we have a collection. These are not all Nickelodeon shows. These are 90s Nickelodeon shows and ones that I at least vaguely remember. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because there were some even where.
How did we come up? Let's backtrack a little bit. How did we come up? Why? Yesterday we were watching something, and then we just started talking about Nickelodeon out of the blue.
I don't know how we got on it. I
Yeah.
don't. But yeah, we were talking about some of the shows, and I got incredibly hyped up because I remembered a specific episode from a show called Salute Your Shorts, and I'm like, it's not even that good of a show. And but that episode was, I mean, you had a special enthusiasm and excitement that you could generate as a kid. So I thought that would be fun to sort of take a step back.
So let me just interject here a little bit. When we grew up as kids in my household, my family, we didn't have cable, so we didn't have Nickelodeon. So the only chances I got to watch Nickelodeon were when I was visiting my cousins in Claremont, Montclair, Claremont, wherever the hell I live, and their parents, they had cable, and we watched Nickelodeon whenever we spent the night over there for the weekend. Every now and again, I remember us being able to get pirated cable at our house. I don't know how. I don't know how we did, but we got pirated cable somehow at our place. We were poor. We were broke as fuck. So watching Nickelodeon to me as a child was for sure a treat. I didn't have Nickelodeon all the time where it was just like a regular news network where I have easy access to it. So Disney Channel and Nickelodeon were like, oh fuck, we get to watch whatever's on, So it recalls all that nostalgic feeling of oh goody, I'm gonna play with my toys here. You know what I mean? So anyways, going on this list.
All right.
How do you want to list them all and then
I'm gonna say a show. This is how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna say a show, and then we could talk about it for a second if we want, and then I'll say what tier I think it's in. You'll say what tier you think it's in. If we're drastically different, say I think it's an A and you think it's a C, then we just put it to B, okay? And if
we're an average,
yeah, and then if we're just one apart, say you think it's an A and I think it's a B, then we go alternating possession, like in basketball. So if it's your the first one you can pick. So if you think it's an A and I think it's a B, then it's an A. Next one, if I think it's a C and you think it's a B, then it's a C, and we just go like that.
You're getting too complicated, but okay, sure.
It's not that complicated, I swear.
Yeah, okay.
Alternating possession.
All right.
First up.
First show of the 90s Nickelodeon.
Rocko's Modern Life. Remember that one?
Rocko's Modern Life. Yeah, it was.
He was like a wallaby.
And they all had whatever Australian or New Zealandish accents, right? All the voice actors, right?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that one. They were all drawn. They were all drawn a little bit goofy.
To me, it always felt like it was let's cross Doug and Ren and Stimpy, but not make it as weird as either one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the premise. It follows an easily frightened immigrant wallaby named Rocco who encounters various dilemmas and situations. So I have that as a C. C
Sure.
tier.
Yeah. Okay. I can say a C. It wasn't one of my favorites, but it wasn't like horrible where I didn't like. I enjoyed watching it. I just can't recall much of the detail of the show.
All right. Clarissa Explains It All.
That one to me, what's the worst tier?
I think we had D. We can have F. It could be D and F.
Okay, it's one of those for me. This was not one of the shows that I watched all the time, and when I would catch glimpses of it, it always felt like to me like more girly, like not. It wasn't something I enjoyed.
The protagonist was a girl,
Yeah,
but she explained it all.
I guess.
And you know what? To be fair, she didn't explain it all. All those things in those banned books in Florida, she didn't touch on that once. And I think if you're gonna name it, Clarissa Explains It All, it's got to be comprehensive. So you know what? I would say a C. So we're gonna put that in a D.
Here's my argument for it to be D, because I enjoyed Rocco's Modern Life. I didn't enjoy it.
You're saying that you want to give Clarissa the D.
Give Clarissa the D.
She's very, very conservative Christian now, so I don't know if she'd let you.
All right.
Melissa Joan Hart grew up to be super, super religious. Maybe that was part of the Explains It All part. She didn't. You know what? They didn't even talk about God in that show. I'm disappointed. I change it. Let's give it an F.
Oh shit! Wait, so we are doing F?
Fuck it. I didn't actually hate it, but in hindsight, I'm just outraged by the name. Not even close to everything was explained.
Yeah, boo. F.
False
F.
advertising. Okay. Next up, Double Dare.
That one's got to be A. I would say A.
So just to remind everyone, Double Dare, it was one of their game shows.
Are you including Family Double Dare in that one
Sure.
too? Okay, so they're the
all
same.
the Double Dares?
All
And there was like there's also, I think they had like Celebrity Double Dare,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was like the worst grade celebrities ever. And then one time I remember they got Jonathan Taylor Thomas on, and that was like their big thing. And he's just like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
But it was like the first part of it was like a game show where you had to answer trivia, and then somehow that led to this like
Physical
obstacle course.
challenge. Physical challenge.
Physical challenge. Yeah, it was. I also give it a C. Here's why. I remember getting so frustrated watching, because at the very end you had, what was it called at the end? There was like this big obstacle course they had to go through.
Whatever obstacle.
And they had to find flags.
Yeah.
And it was so frustrating to me, because sometimes like the team would have done so well and they just couldn't fucking find the flag. It was like in the weirdest place, or get stuck on something. And I'd be like, this is bullshit. They're doing great. Like I would get pissed off like on their behalf. So like I wanted effort to be rewarded, and it wasn't always rewarded on that show. I thought Mark Summers, the host, did a good job, but it's that one aspect of the show pissed me off so much it ruined it sometimes.
So you gave it a C, I gave it an A. Does that make it a B?
B.
Okay.
That's fair. The one great thing that was popularized by Double Dare was slime.
Yeah.
That was like the origin of slime. And
the origin of slime, and it was like a big thing for Nickelodeon, and like all of its shows was the slime.
You could like buy like slime toys.
Uh-huh.
All right. And then let's go back to a cartoon. What about Doug?
I like that one more than Rocco's Modern Life.
Agreed.
I would give that one like a B.
Doug was really relatable somehow.
Yeah, because he was like a fucking loser.
I mean, kind of.
He was.
Was he?
He wasn't the cool kid.
No, he wasn't.
He was kind of like
and he was a little pudgy too. He didn't. I mean, a little
bit
belly.
Of a belly. We were having a laugh last night about his girlfriend named Patty Mayonnaise.
and like, his friend Skeeter. That was the other
Skeeter
thing.
was blue.
We were talking about, right? Like they had kind of a strange way in handling ethnicities in that show.
Yeah.
Because if I recall, white people were white, and then everyone else was like random colors.
Pink and green and orange and fucking neon and shit.
So yeah, it seemed to me like if you're gonna do that, that's fine. But then have everyone be different colors.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like there was a weird sort of ethnic slant to that show.
So that one, I said B. What did you say?
You know what? B. I go with B.
Cool. Sweet. All right, that's a good one.
What about Salute Your Shorts? We watched a bit of that last night.
You know what? I did enjoy the show back then, but it wasn't one. I wouldn't say it wasn't like one of my favorite of the Nickelodeon shows. I would say I'd give that one like a C.
See, I would give it a B, just specifically because, and for anyone who didn't see Salute Your Shorts, it was just set at a sleepaway camp,
Yeah.
and we were laughing because we kind of when we watched the first 5-10 minutes of it,
Yeah.
and going in we're like the writing is gonna be so bad, the acting, like we knew it wasn't really gonna hold up production wise.
Yeah.
But it starts where like the one kid shows up to summer camp, and he's like, "Why the hell am I here?" And then they steal his luggage and run his shorts up the flagpole, and there's like the most awkwardly delivered line from this like little child actor. He's like, "Well, you know what I think you should do is just take a deep breath and salute your shorts." but there's two parts. Then like 5 minutes later in the episode, one of the kids has a porn mag.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking at this. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And yeah, he had a joke. He's like, $1 to look at it, 25 cents for me to turn the page.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What kind of joke was
There
this?
wasn't actually nudity. It was still a wholesome show.
Very wholesome, but he just had a porn mag in the first
Yeah.
episode. I liked it. I liked those shows as
What was it? Donkey Lip? That was
Donkey
like
Lips,
Donkey
yeah.
Lips.
Donkey Lips, Budnick, and Mikey.
Jesus.
I like those shows there where it was like kind of an outsider kid, and they kind of end up in a friend group without, where it's sort of like a pre-made, like something about that was appealing to me because I was like, oh, I want that. I want to be at this camp and just have these weird friends all of a sudden.
So you gave it a B. I gave it a C. What grade does it get?
That's alternating possession. You first, so so I guess C.
Okay.
Rip Salute Your Shorts.
Well, C's not a bad grade as long as it's not a D or an F.
Yeah, it's okay. I enjoyed that show though. Did you? This is one I really didn't watch very much. Kenan and Kel.
I didn't watch it all either.
I saw like a couple episodes. I'm like, I don't find this humorous at all. They're
I didn't
just
like
very
how
dumb.
I didn't like how they acted. Like they acted like they were putting on they were hamming it up, but like hamming it up, like really, and it just didn't appeal to me. Like watching it, I didn't think they were funny.
I give it an F.
I'll give it a D because it wasn't Clarissa Explains It All bad, but it was not.
Oh, it's my alternating possession. I
Okay,
give it an F.
sure.
Kenan and Kel. Some people love that show. It also, I wonder if I was younger when I saw it because that was one that came out a little bit later. That was like mid-90s.
Yeah.
Okay, what about Legends of the Hidden Temple? Another game show.
I give that one an A. That was one of my favorite of the. Cause I always liked the game show stuff.
Explain the format of Legends of the Hidden Temple.
So Legends of the Hidden Temple, if I recall correctly, there was teams of. I remember if it was teams of 4 or teams of 2.
I think 2.
And each had like a different animal. Like you guys were the jaguars, and you were the fucking monkeys, and you were the this that. So there was 4 different teams of 2 or whatever.
It was 2. It was always a boy and a girl.
Yeah, and basically they had like there was like trivia stuff, and then there was like obstacle stuff too that they had to climb. Was it like in a Mayan temple?
Yeah,
or something?
it was like these very elaborately constructed sets where you're supposed to be like
special effects and shit.
Oh yeah, and smoke would pop out and everything. It did have some of that Double Dare aspect of like they just couldn't sometimes quite figure things out.
Yeah.
But it seemed to me it was like less arbitrary, and something about those set designs and just like you said, this is the Jaguar team, and it like really sparked my imagination as a kid. Like, oh, I want to run through the Hidden Temple. This is dope as fuck. I give it an A as well.
All right, cool. We both gave that one a good grade.
We both like Legends of the Hidden Temple. What about? Okay, let's go back to a cartoon. Ren and Stimpy.
S tier. I said it. S tier. The first for sure. Here's why for me at least.
Yes.
The humor that we understood at that age.
Explain the show.
I can't remember the name of the artist, the guy that drew the like he's his art style had
it's a cartoon.
Yeah. It's a cartoon. And there's these 2 characters. One was Ren and one was Stimpy. For the life of me,
Ren was a very angry Chihuahua.
Yeah, skinny little guy.
What was it? What was the accent?
It was supposed to be like a Latin kind of accent,
sort of.
but
but
it
not
was
quite.
like a white guy doing a Latin accent. So
Ren.
it wasn't.
Stimpy, what are you doing?
Yeah, it wasn't spot on, but it was like you understood. And then Stimpy was
He was a cat, sort of, but he was very bulbous.
like a big fat red cat with a blue nose.
Mhm.
And he was like a big oaf. He was an oaf. He was an oafish character. If there was like a Pinky in the Brain, Ren would be the brain and Stimpy would be the pinky. Like it was just a
Yeah, but they were way weirder.
way weirder. It was like graphic and uh just something about the artistic style was like
kind of gross too.
kind of gross.
Like there were it would sometimes flip from like normal kind of a more normal cartoon style to where there would be like a single panel where it was like very detailed, but it was always the grossest shit.
It was like earwax or something,
or like Ren like tearing off his toenails or something. Just
yeah,
and just very detailed, graphic, well shaded, like almost to the part where like, wow, like this is really artistic and disgusting.
yeah. So why I give it an S tier is because at that age we only understood the cartoony stuff. Like there's only a certain level of humor we understood from that show, but the show holds up. Like if you were to watch it now,
Oh fuck yeah!
like there would be other humor, like more adult humor that you're like, oh, these fucking guys, like how the fuck did they sneak this into a kids show? Like just some of the things that they imply and everything, and so that's why I think Ren and Stimpy it just holds up. It's very unique for sure.
Okay. Oh, this is interesting too. Okay, I was just scrolling through the whole thing, and because by the way, they in the description they say Ren Hawk. I forget his name was Hawk. Is an emotionally unstable and sociopathic chihuahua. Because yeah, he gets dark. Like there's like a lot of like mental illness that sort of gets addressed. And then but in this Wikipedia article, there is a controversy and censorship section, and it says, it's like many episodes. Okay, wait, hold on. Some segments of the show were altered to exclude references to religion, politics, and alcohol. Many episodes included someone smoking a cigar, pipe, or cigarette. Several episodes had violent, gruesome, or suggestive scenes, like Ren's face being grated against a man's stubble, and a scene that was shortened where Ren receives multiple punches to the stomach from a baby.
It was goofy shit.
But it was like it would switch from being so dark and perverse and strange to being just lighthearted. Do you still remember the log commercial?
Yeah. Well, sort of kind of like log. It was like a Christmas toy or something.
It was like a Slinky parody.
Yeah.
But instead of like the Slinky, it was just a fucking log.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's log, it's big, it's heavy, it's wood, it's log, it's better than bad, it's good.
What's your grade?
S tier.
S tier. Perfect.
It has to be. That is possibly the greatest cartoon ever made.
I think so.
I mean, and you know what? I can't really. I haven't watched SpongeBob or any of the more recent shows, so I don't know. But that show was a work of art.
Yeah.
There's like Salvador Dali and his melting clocks, and then there's Ren and fucking Stimpy. All right, moving on. Hey Dude.
Hey Dude. Now, I don't 100% remember it correctly. This was the one where they're kind of on a ranch, sort of?
It was on a dude ranch.
Yeah.
It's a really very strange premise for a show. It's basically like these kids' summer jobs, but they were so young. But their summer job is to go work on this dude ranch where like tourists and stuff are gonna go, and it's a little bit of a resort. But then they have to like wrangle cows, and it's a very very weird premise. It was basically Salute Your Shorts, but on a dude ranch.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was one of my favorite shows. I do remember watching it. For me, it's gonna be a C or a D. All right, let's just be fair. Let's be nice and give it a C.
I give it a C for two reasons.
Okay.
Reason one, the actress that played Brad, and then number two, the actress that played Melody.
So that you're basically giving a good grade because there's hot chicks in there.
Oh yes, I
don't remember them.
As a kid, those were the main reasons to watch them. And Melody, though, that was I think her name is Christine Taylor, but that was the actress of both Dodgeball, the Underdog Story, and Zoolander fame.
Oh.
She grew up, and then I think she's still married to Ben Stiller.
Oh.
So yeah, very very strange premise for a show. Maybe not the greatest characters. Two super cute girls, and like at that point, like middle school age, I'm like, I'm all about this. I will watch it
All
for
right.
Christine and Brad. Let's see. So we gave it. Hold on, I gotta.
Give it a C.
We gave it a C.
I'm writing this down, by the way.
Me too. What about? Oh yeah, I did write that as guts. What about? What would you do?
Now this one I don't remember. It sounds familiar, but I can't. You're gonna have to remind me what show that was.
Fuck.
You don't remember it either?
I was hoping you'd remember it and remind me. All I remember, I know it was a game show, and I remember like the theme song was like, what would you do? And then I can't remember. I'm gonna here. Let me look it up. I've got this whole list. I just have to get to the game shows. And I think this was another Mark Summers hosted one, if I recall. This was like a new show that they gave him. And where is it? This is great. Dead Air. Where? Not preschool.
Audience members were asked to volunteer to perform funny stunts. Example: kissing a chimpanzee, etc. Yeah, I don't really remember it that fondly. It couldn't have held a light to Double Dare. I don't think, because if it was, I mean, I'm sure it was good. I'm sure I enjoyed it, but it's not.
You know what? Based on the fact that neither of us remember it, I'm gonna give it a D, because it wasn't bad enough where we're like, that show was terrible, I hated it.
Yeah,
but it obviously wasn't good enough where
okay,
it made any kind of
that makes
impression.
sense. I give it a D as well. What else?
All right. What did we give Hey Dude? C?
Hey
yeah,
Dude, give it a
C.
C.
Okay. Pete and Pete.
That one for me is probably, it's going to be either an A or an S tier for me. It held like some weird, there was such a weird fascination to that show. So Pete and Pete basically is two brothers, both named Pete. His Big Pete and Little Pete. And they just got into just this misadventures of just kids, of just boys growing up and having a brother. And Little Pete was kind of a little bit of a troublemaker, a little bit of a like brash, like more of a punk rock kind of kid.
Yeah.
And older Pete was a little more, I'd say a little more straight edge, if I recall correctly.
A little bit of a do-gooder.
And
yeah, little Pete was like raging against the world.
Yeah.
Like he hated adults.
Yeah. So it had this there's like that Little Pete had that friend, what did we say his name was? Arlo or Arno or
Arnie, the strongest man in the
it
world.
was like this weird fucking character that was just always in spandex and like was like a
not physically intimidating at all, but he was like just slightly stronger than a normal person. He didn't actually have like real superpowers. It was always unclear whether he just thought he was strong or he was actually strong.
Yeah,
that was another really weird show. I think, yeah, for me, I was going back and forth between whether it was S or A. I think it's A. Let's put it A and then we can revisit it.
Okay.
Because the one thing I can't remember if it held up as consistently. Like
Yeah.
I feel like every episode of Ren and Stimpy was a masterpiece. Whereas Pete and Pete, it was sometimes I think it was hit or miss. Okay. Do you remember a show called Welcome Freshman?
No.
Me neither. Let's just strike that one then. I was confused. It ran for 3 years. It was right in the same like timetable as all these other shows.
So just give it an F.
I don't remember it at all. I can't give it one way or the other. What about The Secret World of Alex Mack? You ever see that one?
Nope.
I did see that one. If you didn't see it at all, let's skip it then. Okay. What about Guts?
That one was gonna be for me probably a B.
It's another game show.
Yeah, another game show. Was a little more. It was almost like American, if I remember correctly, it was like American Gladiators, but for kids.
There were a lot of, you know what it always made me think of? There was this Mike Myers SNL sketch where he's like this hyperactive little kid and he's got like a helmet on and then he has a bungee cord on his back and he's just like strapped to a jungle gym. He's always like running away from it and bouncing back. There were copious amounts of bungee cords and silly shit like that. It really was, yeah, that was a perfect way to describe it. American Gladiators for kids.
I would give it a B because I didn't. I'm just looking at our other tiers. It wasn't Legends of the Hidden Temple good.
No,
I'd say it was as good as Double Dare. Double Dare got a B.
I agree.
Okay.
Guts is a B. What about Roundhouse?
I don't remember that one.
You didn't see that? I'm gonna give that a B, because I do remember that. That was it. Was actually kind of like a sketch comedy, like improv, and that's one where it probably doesn't hold up. But that was the first time I'd ever seen sketch comedy ever, and I was like, "This is crazy!" Like they're coming up with this stuff on the. That's one where like looking back, if I saw it, I'm sure everything was like produced and they were telling these like. Because I think they're mostly child actors. Maybe they were 20s. I don't know. It was hard to tell. But I thought that they were coming up with everything on the spot. And I was like, this is the most amazing thing ever. But
So you gave it a B, but I can't give it a grade if I don't remember what show it is. Does it just automatically get a B?
yeah,
That doesn't sound fair.
you don't remember. You know,
Or what if I just say I want to give it an F just to be a dick?
it's based on nothing. Doesn't count. This is like
I can't
capture the flag tag, man.
Hold
I'm
on.
making up my own
I
rules as they
can't,
go along.
in my consciousness, I can't give it the same grade that we're giving Double Dare and Guts if I don't remember it.
Okay, fine. C.
Okay.
Just to appease you. Okay. What about Are You Afraid of the Dark?
A.
But we gotta hold on. We gotta justify what it. Are You Afraid of the Dark was an episodic show, and basically what it was Tales from the Crypt for kids. So like each episode would be like some sort of like short scary story.
It was two worlds. It was basically a club of kids that would meet in like this fucking middle of nowhere forest somewhere, and they had this ritualistic thing, and they would take turns of telling a scary story, and then you would enter the world of that story that's being told by that kid.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a kind of story within a story, sort of, but not kind of really. And every they were as scary as you can get for that age, for tweens and younger. You know what I mean? Like none of it was gory, none of it was like there was like jump scares, if anything, kind of stuff where it was tame, but it would still, like, if you were that age. I mean, I remember watching Are You Afraid of the Dark, and like I'd be cool with it because I like scary shit, but I had cousins that were my age that would have nightmares from watching Are You Afraid of the Dark. It was like
there's only one of them that I remember being afraid of, and I can't exactly remember the premise. I think they had like glasses or sunglasses or something. Where like, and I just remember there's one scene where they're looking at like their kitchen and everything looks normal, and then they put the glasses on and like the kettle is boiling, and I was like, oh my god, that one tripped me out. It was a lot more subtle than the other ones, but something about that did actually scare me when I was a little kid, but in a fun way. So they did a great job of like kind of walking that line where they weren't traumatizing their audience, but they actually were making it scary. So you had it as an
I give it a B.
You only give it a B.
Yeah. So by the way, they remade Are You Afraid of the Dark in like 2019 or 2020, and I don't remember if it was one season or two seasons. I watched all of them, whatever came out, whatever they spit out, and I think if I was that age, I think it would still hold that same kind of spookiness. But I'm older and I don't get scared that easily with that stuff.
Yeah. This none of this stuff is other than Ren and Stimpy, which is for everyone. None of this stuff is for us anymore.
Yeah.
But I would have given it an A. But alternating possession, it's your turn. You get a B.
Okay.
And
I think that was it.
That was the end of it. So was our only S tier show Ren and Stimpy?
Let's see. Ren and Stimpy.
We gave Doug a B. Ren and Stimpy. And
Pete and Pete almost got an S tier. I think that was the only other one that was.
Do we give Pete and Pete an S just retroactively?
Sure, we can do that. Because you even said we'll go back to it.
That show was pretty amazing.
I'm okay with giving it an S because, like I said, it holds a special nostalgic thing for whatever. I don't remember the story or the plot, but I do remember like watching it back then and how much I enjoyed that show. It was for sure my favorite one of the.
It was so weird and offbeat. Like I remember there was one episode called Johnny Unitas in the Universe, and it's just like an old football quarterback, and for some reason they were trying to find him, and like that's like just such a strange for a 90s kid show. It did have that kind of offbeat like weirdness to it. That is something kind of special.
There was an episode that I connected with that I remembered. I couldn't tell you exactly what happens in the episode now. I have to watch it over again. But it had something to do with Little Pete joining a band or like starting a band in his garage. And it was like Little Pete and that guy Arnold or whatever,
Arnie.
that Arnie was in the band, and then I forget who else. It was like a couple other neighborhood kids were in the band, and I'm sure Big Pete was probably in the band as well. But it had something to do with music and them playing a song, and then them trying to recreate a song they heard, and it was I don't know, I enjoyed that.
They had such great antagonists too. Because I was looking up. There's a list on the Wikipedia entry called enemies. There was Endless Mike, who's the mortal enemy of Big Pete, and then there was Hathead, Open Face, and Pit Stain.
Oh, nice. We're running a little late, a little long. Just really quickly. So yesterday when we were talking about this, we didn't really talk at depth like we did right now, but we mentioned that there was a young Ryan Reynolds in a Nickelodeon show that I was like, I swear I've seen Ryan Reynolds in we couldn't figure it out. So I looked it up last night, and there was a show called Hillside, but in the United States it was called 15. And so that was like the first time I'd ever seen
Never saw
a Ryan Reynolds, a young, very, very young Ryan Reynolds. And he had the same like sense of humor, but obviously much more innocent and naive that he has now. He's just kind of like a little bit of a smart ass, kind of Deadpool, kind of,
Okay.
And I can't remember if this show was on Nickelodeon or on Disney Channel, but do you remember a show called Kids Incorporated?
Nope.
Yeah, I can't remember if that was on Nickelodeon or it may have been a Disney Channel show.
Well, anyhow, that was our tier list. Let's see if we can maybe publish that with the episode. I would be interested to see if anyone else has some differing opinions. But let's wrap this episode up. Yeah.
Sure. I can't. Doing a quick search of the show Kids Incorporated, it doesn't say if it was in Disney Channel or Nickelodeon, but check it out. I didn't know this until now, just looking at the IMDb, but apparently a young Fergie of what's the name of that group?
Black Eyed Peas.
Black Eyed Peas. A young Fergie was one of the main characters in Kids Incorporated. I didn't know that.
Nice.
And Mario Lopez was a backup dancer. Holy shit. So yeah, that was it for today's episode. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, you guys on the YouTubes. We'll talk to you guys in the week. Bye.